Neoconservative warmonger and national security advisor John Bolton has been one of the loudest proponents of regime change in Iran. In fact, just last summer, he indicated that he'd like to be celebrating the invasion of Iran in Tehran by 2019.
And that's why before 2019, we here will celebrate in Tehran. Thank you very much.
That lunatic is advising the president on national security issues, and John Bolton has been given a lot of ammunition by Donald Trump because, as we all know, Donald Trump made this unhinged threat to Iran via Twitter. Now, what Donald Trump was responding to, it didn't really warrant that type of response at all. So Iranian President Hassan Rouhani states, "Don't play with the lion's tail or you will regret it." President Rouhani cautioned U.S. President Donald Trump addressing a meeting attended by the Iranian representatives in foreign countries. America should know that peace with Iran is the mother of all peace and war with Iran is the mother of all wars. Now, because of that last response, Donald Trump took it as a direct threat, and he responded with this caps lock rant against them. To Iranian President Rouhani, "Never ever threaten the United States again, or you will suffer consequences the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. We are no longer a country that will stand for your demented words of violence and death. Be cautious." Now, of course, this tweet came after he said the following about President Obama in 2013. "Remember what I previously said, Obama will someday attack Iran in order to show how tough he is." So obviously, Donald Trump can't stop contradicting himself, and implicit in his threat, embedded in that deranged lunacy condensed in a tweet, is the threat of nuclear annihilation. Because what is he saying here? You'll suffer the consequences, the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered. What does that imply? He's talking about nuclear annihilation. Because if you want a hot war with Iran, you're not just going to get in there, clean house, and then leave the next day. It's going to be a very bloody, disastrous battle. So if you're really threatening them and saying they're going to experience or suffer consequences the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before, that's a threat of nuclear annihilation. And when he goes on these deranged rants like this, you know that individuals like Mike Pompeo and John Bolton are probably coming in their pants with excitement after seeing that, they're one step closer to getting him to want to go to war with Iran. Now, Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif responded, I probably butchered that, but he responded on Twitter, of course, because that's how you conduct diplomacy nowadays, is via Twitter. But he states, "Color us unimpressed. The world heard even harsher bluster a few months ago, and Iranians have heard them, albeit more civilized ones, for 40 years. We've been around for millennia and seen fall of empires, including our own, which lasted more than the life of some countries. Be cautious." So take it as you will, that's an escalation. It's a slight escalation, but it's an escalation nonetheless, when right now we need to diffuse the situation. So John Bolton, did he kind of step in and try to defuse the situation? Of course he didn't. He decided to fan the flames further, saying, "I spoke to the president over the last several days, and President Trump told me that if Iran does anything at all to the negative, they will pay a price like few countries have ever paid before." So he's doubling down on that implicit nuclear threat. Now, again, I could be wrong about this. Maybe it's the case that when Donald Trump penned that deranged tweet, he wasn't thinking, or if he was thinking at all, he wasn't thinking about nuclear annihilation, but that's the overall implication by saying something like that. And John Bolton doubled down on that. So really, for someone like John Bolton, who's a neocon, who loves to jerk off to the idea of death and destruction and mass devastation, everything is really starting to fall into place for him. And he may actually get his wish of celebrating the fall of Iran in Tehran by 2019.
Before 2019, we here will celebrate in Tehran. Thank you very much.
I'm inclined to state that someone like John Bolton is motivated by defense industry stocks, but I think he just genuinely loves war. He thrives off of it. There are many sick and twisted individuals in American government that love war. So now that Donald Trump penned this tweet, John Bolton is pouncing on this opportunity right now. He's going to make sure that we ramp up tensions and escalate further with Iran. And that's really scary. So we have to make sure that we are especially vigilant currently, and we watch everything that Donald Trump is doing, because Republicans have been wanting to invade Iran for decades. And now, with someone as easily manipulated as Donald Trump, more calculative and clever warmongers like John Bolton may finally get their wish. And it's on us to stop them before they can get us to that point, or get Donald Trump to that point, rather.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.